many of you, I saw your faces at my house about a year and a half or so ago when we were launching Cloud and we were getting things rolling, and it's really a tremendous opportunity for me to share with you all the exciting stuff that's been going on with Cloud since that year and a half or so ago. How many of you guys were at my house a year? Wow, look at this, Alex. I mean, all these people came to see a presentation on Cloud a year and a half or so ago. So a lot has happened since then. So the whole purpose, Jerry, good to see you, my friend. Excellent. So a lot has happened since then, and what we hope to do today is we want to kind of share with you a little about who we are and what we're doing and why you might want to be involved with Cloud as well. So is that fair to everybody? Yes? Okay, so that's what we're gonna cover tonight. So what I want to do is I want to begin by saying that about a decade or so ago, I had the opportunity to be involved with the running of a company called Peak Potentials Training. How many of you guys have ever heard of Peak Potentials Training? And it was during that time that I was really mentored and coached by my friend and the man who owned Peak Potential at the time. His name is T. Harv Eker. How many of you guys know about Harv? And Harv taught me all about creating passive income streams. How many of you guys are into passive income? Hopefully everybody's into passive income. And so I spent a year and a half with Harv building his company, and during that time I made many really tremendous business connections. And when I left Harv and I came back to Phoenix, I got involved in a financial services company called Bank on Yourself. I have some Bank on Yourself clients here. Yes, I do, as a matter of fact. And then when the economy tanked, I got into the real estate business with Caliber. How many of you guys are involved with me? I have some Caliber clients here as well. There we go. And in 2012, I was hosting a Phoenix 2% Club event, and my guest was a lady by the name of, I'm drawing a blank on her name. Stephanie, yes, thank you. Stephanie Frank. How many of you guys have ever heard of Stephanie Frank? And I had this idea, because I'm an idea guy, that I really honestly believed that there was a fortune to be made in revenue generating, cash flowing websites. I really believed that if I could execute on this plan, I would be able to go out there and identify already successful revenue generating websites, because I had learned that it's much easier to buy something that somebody's already created than it is to start something from scratch. How many would agree with that? So that was the whole idea. And so Stephanie Frank was my guest at the 2% Club, and we went out for coffee the next day, and I said, I've got this idea, and it's just something I really believe maybe you could help me with. And the idea is, do you think it's feasible? And the key word is feasible. Yeah. Is it feasible to actually go out there and find already successful revenue generating web properties and buy them and manage them ourselves? Is that feasible? And she said, I think it's totally feasible, and I think I can help assemble the team to make that happen. And so back in April of 2012, the four of us, there were four partners, we all got together and started getting on the phone and started talking about how we were going to create this company called Cloud Income Properties. And by November of that year, everybody said, well, you know what? We've got our systems in place to the best we can. Jeff, see if you can sell any websites. So I came to a lot of you folks, didn't I? And I told you all about Cloud Income Properties. In fact, some of you guys wanted to buy websites before I even formed the company. Isn't that true? Yeah, I know people that would say, hey, if you do it, I'll buy one. And so we went through a beta test period for about 7-8 months. And during those 7-8 months, we didn't really have a sales team. There was Jeff. I was kind of like the sales team, and if you're going to hear about Cloud, you're probably going to hear about it from Jeff. And what I found was this. The appetite to buy these cash flowing websites was enormous. It didn't take very much convincing whatsoever when people got it, that they saw the benefits of owning these revenue generating, cash flowing websites. So I knew I was really onto something, because I was facing very little sales resistance. People got it, people wanted it, people understood it, and it was really something that really, in all my years of sales, I never found anything that really resonated with people quite as easily as this resonated with people. And by the fall of last year, I said, we've sold a lot of websites, but what we really need to do is we really need to tighten all of our systems, because we don't have the systems tight enough yet so that we're confidently making certain we're going to buy the very best quality websites to begin with and then manage them properly. And so I personally went on a journey for the last 7 months. And that journey was to find brains, to find talent, to find the right people to plug into the areas that we needed to plug in order for us to get to the next level. So this summer, I had a chance to go to my buddy Harv's 60th birthday party. And while I was there, I knew that I would be meeting the gentleman that you're going to be hearing from in just a little bit. His name is Alex Mandossian. And for those of you who don't know Alex Mandossian, Alex has a reputation that's pretty much second to none when it comes to online marketing. He's kind of like the Warren Buffett of online marketing. And I felt as though if I want to take my company to the next level, I only really want to work with the very best. How many agree that if you're going to work in business, you want to work with the best? And so I made it a mission to talk to Alex when I was in San Diego at Harv's birthday party. And one of two things was going to transpire. Either Alex was going to get involved with us so we could help me take the business to the next level, or hopefully he would refer me to people that he knew in the industry that could help us get there. And during that time that Alex was doing his due diligence, deciding whether or not this might be the right opportunity for him, I continued to look for more and more talent to be able to make certain that the websites that we were buying for our clients were going to be managed and grown. How many think that's pretty important? And how many think it's really important to find the right people to manage and grow our websites for us, right? That's like the most critical thing. So my journey led me to a team, Gina Gaudio-Graves and Jack Humphreys. And Gina lives in Florida and Jack lives in Indiana, but together they are a dynamic team. And hopefully all of you guys will have a chance to get to meet them. But in terms of managing the day-to-day running of these websites, having the right people managing these websites is everything. How many would agree? I mean, so if you know you've got the right people managing these websites, so much the better. So first Alex came on board as a strategic advisor to Cloud. And then Gina and Jack came on as strategic partners. And then Alex said to me, Jeff, you know, there's this one guy I really think you should get a hold of and maybe see if there's a way that you could work out a deal with him. And his name is Jeff Hunt. And Jeff Hunt's claim to fame is that he has bought and sold and flipped hundreds of web properties. And so he knows the industry, he knows the business, he knows where to source these websites. And so we had a chance to meet with Jeff and share our vision and find out more about what Jeff was up to. And we found that there was a huge win-win. Jeff saw the vision that we saw, and we saw the value he could bring to us in terms of making sure we were really buying the very best quality web properties. So we formed a strategic partnership with Jeff. Then, my good friend Ira Rosen, Ira and Corey from Mojo Video. Well, I know that, how many believe that in sales, marketing is really important? Lead generation is really important. If you have a lot of good quality leads to be talking to all day long, you're in a pretty good situation, right? I mean, wouldn't you just love to have people that are predisposed to buying what you want, calling you up and saying, hey, please call me as soon as you can so I can know who to write the check to? Right? That's what we want, right? We want a whole bunch of those people. So I've known Ira and Corey forever. I knew them pretty much when they started their Mojo Video business. And I knew that they've been working diligently over a long period of time at creating marketing funnels, and in particular, creating lead generation funnels. And in business, it's all about leads, yes? Yeah. So we formed a strategic partnership with Mojo Video, and you'll hear from Ira in just a little bit as well, so that we can really begin to tap into a very lucrative market, being the LinkedIn market. A lot of professionals, a lot of investors, a lot of affluent people, a lot of CEO type folks. And so we've now brought them into the fold. Over the next couple of months, I promise you, I've not done bringing more talent into the company. I will bring in as much talent as I can possibly bring in to make sure that whatever it is that we need to be doing to get to the top of the mountain, we're going to have the brains and the talent to make it happen. So that's a lot of what's happened since in the last year and a half. We've made enormous strides. I can't tell you how many hundreds of thousands of dollars of mistakes we've made, but we have. But we learn from our mistakes and we're able to survive those mistakes, and we're now stronger than ever. And so if you haven't looked at cloud in the past, I really want to encourage you to look at cloud now. And what I really want to do is in the next few minutes, I want to have a few people come up and share a little bit about what they bring to the table. We've got Kim Southworth, our CEO. We've got Alex Mandossian, and we have Ira. So Kim, why don't you come on up first? Kim is our CEO, and Kim's going to kind of share with you from an SEC stock perspective where we're at. Very good.
All right. I haven't had all the training of speaking like Jeff has had, so probably not as dynamic. But what I thought I'd do is kind of give you my view of how I see the company and how I got involved. I was actually running a ballistic armor company for a couple of years, and I had resigned, was looking for something to do, and I was introduced to Jeff. We had lunch at a restaurant by your office, and understand my background is in investment banking. I do mergers and acquisitions. I take company public, capitalize companies. That's kind of what I've been doing for quite a few years. And so I have vetted out a lot of companies. I have sat on boards where we for business plan competitions. I work with venture capital groups where I help them vet their deals. So I've seen a lot of businesses. And so as I'm sitting at the table listening to Jeff explain their business, virtual online business, buying and selling websites, I'm thinking to myself, you've got to be kidding me. I have never in my career ever thought about anything like that. It's no different than any of the businesses that we're buying and selling, but they're virtual online businesses. You know what a huge industry that is. You know, buying businesses and selling them, and merging them, and you know that whole activity there. So we had a good conversation, and I just couldn't get it off my mind. I couldn't sleep that night. It's absolutely amazing. So I started talking to some of my associates, people I've worked with, and everybody just was floored. And what I recognized is, and it really came out later, but what we're doing is we created a new asset class. You have your stocks, your bonds, your mutual funds, people buy their own businesses, all these things that you can do, and we all know what a lot of the conventional investments are doing right now. The interest rates are horrible. A lot of people who planned on retiring or were retiring are now back out of retirement working and trying to figure out what they can do. And what I've recognized is that the returns here for virtual online business are so much greater than the majority of the investments out there. Another thing I looked at is I compared it to real estate. And here's how I see a virtual online business. I'm just giving you my perspective. Everybody's going to see it differently. But when you go out and buy a building like this, it's only going to be worth so much. 10, 20, 30, 50 years from now, it's only going to be worth so much. And the rent that you can charge for this building or for the space or whatever building you buy, you can only charge so much. Even if the market goes up, there's a price point where whoever's ever renting that building can't afford it. It's too high. But what I noticed about these virtual online businesses is that if you buy a website that's generating $1,500 a month, the value of that website is going to be proportionate to the revenue it's generating, just like a piece of real estate, cash flow. You're buying cash flow, you're buying revenue. However, the opportunity to take that website to make $3,000, $4,000, $5,000, $10,000 a month is there. It will take you 3 months, 1 year, 2 years. But when it does, the value of that website is proportionate to the revenue that it's generating. So you can see a huge upside that you can never see in real estate, depending on how aggressive you are and what kind of site you buy, and you just might want to sit back, enjoy the revenue, and then maybe sell. So there's a lot of different ways to look at it. I also like the fact that you don't have the maintenance. You buy on a restaurant, and my overhead is $14,000 a month, and so I'm generating $18,000 a month. So we're making a profit. And then all of a sudden, something happens, and our revenue drops to $11,000 a month. I got to come up with $3,000 a month to cover that deficit. And if it's even less than that, I've got a problem. Well, if a website goes down, it might be down for a day or two, or there might be a problem with the server. There might be some things you have to do, but at least you don't have to come up with all this extra money to keep it going and to service it while it's down. So this is kind of how I view it. So I got involved with the company, and what I was looking at here is I felt like this is an amazing opportunity to take this company public. It's going to be big enough. It's a worldwide company. I mean, they're selling websites in India and in China and Japan and Germany. I mean, they're all over the world. Our model can be duplicated worldwide. And I thought we have clearly a worldwide business. So I'm involved more on the back end, on the security side. We're doing some mergers right now to add value to the company and to grow it faster. We're bringing some great strategic partners online, and and we're doing what we call a pre-IPO offering. And this is an offering that allows people to get in prior to the company going public. The advantage of that is that when we go public, those who came in up front become the float. They are the market. Nobody can buy stock unless they go through those people. So it's a great position to be in. And the reason why we chose to do that is we wanted everybody to have a clear liquidity event, a way where they knew when and how they could get out of their stock if they wanted, and also they could watch it grow and trickle it out or whatever they wanted to do. At the same time, it's going to allow us to do some things we probably might not be able to do privately once we're public. And if we get Wall Street on board, and let me take it one more level. We know that with this asset class, this new asset class, we know that I've worked with a venture capitalist. I understand what's going on. Somebody gives them a chunk of money, they're representing maybe $50, $100 million. One of their problems is they have to find deals. They have to give a return to their investors. They have to do it. And so not only is it hard enough finding deals, but once again, if they can find an area that can give a good return to their investors, they also get a percentage of it. Of course, the hedge fund or whatever fund they have is growing. It's to everybody's benefit. I believe that they're going to see this asset class, and they might carve out $10, $20, $30 million to have cloud find, vet, buy, build, grow, manage, and eventually sell their portfolios of web properties. And so I believe not only is the private sector going to have an opportunity to get into an investment they never could have done on their own. I mean, you know, most people like me couldn't even spell website, let alone go out and buy it, vet, and understand it until I really jumped into business and got the team around us that knew how to do all that. Now, somebody who doesn't know anything about the industry can still benefit from the cash flow. They don't have to understand how to run and buy websites. But we're going to have some very large groups and funds that are going to want us to come in and manage their funds. And so we're kind of gearing up to take on those type of portfolios. And so it's just going to get big. And that's going to benefit the shareholders. It's going to benefit those who are buying websites, selling websites. We're going to create a mechanism to move websites worldwide. We are building the World Wide Web MLS. We bought the website, and it will be the first worldwide platform to move websites and domain names and apps on a worldwide basis. If you have a website and you want to sell it, wouldn't it be nice to post it on the World Wide Web and have brokers and people all over the world having a chance to look at your site to buy it from you? And at the same time, it'll allow us to find sites out there that we can sell and manage. And there's just a lot of opportunity here. So the picture's big. I don't want to go into all the details, but that's how I got involved. I'm loving it. So thank you.
So that's one perspective on the business. There are many perspectives on the business. The one I want you guys to hear now is the perspective from our strategic advisor, Alex Mandosi. And Alex, as he likes to say, in dog years, he's been at this now for 140 years now, the internet marketing business. And he has a really unique perspective on what we're doing and the whole industry and the asset class. So please give it up for Alex Mandosi.
Real estate, physical real estate in the real world, where you can touch it, smell it, breathe it, listen to it. There's three words that always gives you an advantage over any other thing in real estate. They're the same three words, begins with an L. Anyone know what those three words are?
Location, location, location.
I can't hear you.
Location, location, location.
Not all the lips are moving. One more time.
Location, location, location.
Well, that is irrelevant online. Online, it's cash flow, cash flow, cash flow. And I've been brought on board because, like Warren Buffett and his mentor, I'm more like his mentor. His name was Benjamin Graham. Now, Ben Graham was teaching at Columbia University, and this is back in the 1920s and 30s, and Warren Buffett was a student there. And back in the 50s, Warren was assigned to visit a location. What's the word? Location. He went to go visit a company. Because in the investment world, Warren visits people and checks out the management team. And if they have a good management team and they're batting 400, and my team happens to be winning the World Series right now, so I'm very happy about that. I'm from the San Francisco Bay Area. And what he did is he would go from company to company to check out management and kind of check out the lay of the land. That's what you do in real estate. You check out the location. Okay? So he visited this little insurance company that was very good at direct marketing. In fact, they're still very good in direct marketing, and they're very good in direct marketing online. And he came back and reported to his mentor. He said, I think this company is something special. And Warren dedicated 20% of everything he was worth into that company, and Ben Graham gave 10% of what he was worth, and that company was Geico Insurance. And from then, he ended up buying lots and lots of insurance companies along the way. And what Warren is known for is not losing money. In fact, that's rule number 1. Don't lose money. Does anyone know what his rule number 2 is? Never forget rule number 1. Are you with me?
Yeah.
So, when I looked at a scenario where location is irrelevant, in the Middle East, a war breaks out, that location is no longer good. My grandfather owned a restaurant in Jerusalem. In 1947, everything changed, and that restaurant was taken over. So location was irrelevant at that time. A neighborhood can go sideways sometimes. Location is no longer relevant. I have a house that hasn't appreciated in 10 years. So things are changing in the real estate world. Would you agree? Yes?
Yes.
It's not just me, and I'm not a real estate investor. I'm a marketer. I'm not even an investor. And so when I looked at an opportunity where location is irrelevant, in fact, the website domain name is irrelevant. Everyone talks about having a great domain name. Maybe in 1995, in the year 2000, when, let's say, insurance.com was still available, or beer.com was available, or gambling.com was available. Those are no longer available. Those are called domains. Say the word domains.
Domains.
That's land. That's virtual land. What about getting a site that I've never heard of? I think it's a big number. It's called Google. Have you heard of Google?
Yeah.
That's kind of a crappy name. Would you agree? I think YouTube is a better name. Yahoo's is kind of a weird name. Baidu is a weird name, but it's one of the top 10 websites in the world. You know, Facebook is a good name. It used to be the Facebook, and then someone changed it. Twitter is kind of a weird name. Fiverr, StumbleUpon. The name of the website is less relevant than the cash it produces and the amount of traffic that it gets. So this is the game I've been playing. And the game I play is to go to a website, look at its assets. And an asset is not the physical property. It's not the location. The asset is something that doesn't even show up on a balance sheet. They call it goodwill. A website's asset does not even have value to the accounting world, because the accounting world was invented during the Industrial Revolution. Now, we have zero cost, like an ebook, and you can make millions of dollars with 100% margin. It costs you a little bit to start it, and then you have 100. It costs you nothing. What you're doing is you're selling molecules. What's Google selling? Information. And they're gathering it. It's like going to heaven without the inconvenience of dying. So this is why I'm in this business, because I want to leave money to my kids. So in looking at cash flow, what's the asset? In fact, if you strip me of everything I have and just stick me in the middle of the street, I find some clothes, right? And then I just want this one thing to a website. What would that one asset be? Anyone know? The information, that's a good asset, but I want more than that. Traffic. Traffic is good, but traffic, some websites get a lot of traffic, but they don't capture the traffic. What else? Database. Everyone give yourselves a high five and say, yes!
Yes.
Again, yes!
Yes.
Good. I don't want you to give each other high fives, that's too intimate. Okay? We'll get to that later tonight. So, in the time of building a database, is there value in a website if you have people who are constantly buying from you? Yes or no?
Yes.
Okay, so we are looking for, and the reason I came on board is I'm not looking for websites that are generating income from Google. In other words, AdSense traffic or click traffic. Because Google can change its algorithm. It can go through one of its shifts. It just recently went through one. And all of a sudden, then location has a big problem because you don't show up on #1 on Google and location is a problem. What if you eliminate location altogether and you just work with a database and that asset was appreciating again and again because it would buy from you month after month after month after what? Month. So that's what I'm looking at is cash producing websites. Now, the hardest thing about the web business and internet business, by the way, internet is not easy. It's not get rich quick. And unlike the physical business, which takes about 3 to 5 years, it takes 1 year to find out if you're a business online. Because 1 year is like 7 years out there. It's like dog years. So I've been online 20 years. I'm 140 years strong in business. That's the truth. And so, at least that's the way I look at it. So if you have a cash-producing website, then you have the keys to the kingdom because very few websites produce cash. So 5,000, 6,000, 7,000. So a month. 2,000 a month. Now here's what I've learned because this is the mindset of the marketers online. Have you heard of front end and back end? Who knows what front end of a business is? Front end. What is a front end?
Brick and mortar is the sign that you have to track them in.
Getting them in.
The website is the page.
So on the website, it's the web page, and you get them to opt in or they buy for the first time. That's called the front end. Say front end.
Front end.
Now the back end, not this, but the back end is after they get a second and third and fourth and fifth sale. That's the back end. Front end for a website marketer is very sexy. The bigger their list, the sexier it is for them for some reason. I really don't care about the size of the list. I care about the volume of the customer. So I have a list of 10,000 people, and it can outperform a list of 1 million people. And the average value of the 10,000 is about $12,000 on that list. Why? Because that's what I'm attracting. So, for example, if you have a website that we find and we buy, and this is my specialty, I guess I'm kind of a marketing investor, because most marketers get bored with the back end. It's not exciting to them. Once they get the first sale, they move on and they look for new people. What I do is I think, what's the cost of a customer that you already have? How much? I can't hear you. Zero. Zero. There's no cost. There's maybe a cost of goods sold if you have one, but all the cost is getting them in. After you've gotten them in, like Warren Buffett, right? What does he do when the prices go down in stocks? Does he buy or sell? He buys. He can't wait for the market to go down because he's cash rich. So that's what we do too. So imagine if you have a website generating $2,000 a month, and if they have customers. And I'm here because I'm vetting these sites, and I'm a lot tougher than Jeff is, right? So I'm here looking at, okay, are these sites underproducing? Underproducing, say that.
Underproducing.
Is that a good thing?
Yes.
Yeah. So if I have a site that's producing $2,000 a month, I can double that. Because I know that they haven't looked at the back end. I know that they have a bunch of blind spots, and I know that if they were as good as they thought they were, right, they would be doing other stuff and building that website to a much higher level. So I'm just looking for a little bit of cash flow. And with that little bit, you can do a lot more than you can do with a physical piece of property. So that's where the math is. And the math comes in to not location, but database. So as the database grows, and you have an annual value per customer, as you get more people, does the value of that website go up or down? Up. And does it go quickly or slowly? Quickly. These are the facts. So if you had the skills I had, and you were in the market of buying websites because you were cash rich, because a bunch of investors came into a company and said, here's some cash, let's go buy some websites. Would you be in a unique position to buy websites and get people to exit? Because they don't have an exit strategy, by the way. There is no exit strategy for a website. If they're not managing their website, they're out of business in a couple months. If they're not attending to their database, they're out of business. In fact, if you don't mail them, if you don't email them at least once a week, you're getting spam complaints because they've already forgotten you. Isn't that incredible? if you don't mail them at least every week to stay in their consciousness, you're getting spam complaints. Everyone know what spam is? Okay? Anyone get spam? Okay, everybody, right? So that's what we're looking for, is cash generating websites. And there are plenty out there. The industry is about 20 to 25 years old, and it's completely new to the concept of being an investment. So the ideal scene is for us to go and pay for a website, retain the website owner, just like in the leveraged buyout years of the 1980s. And rather than looking at the physical assets of the business and putting a note against that and getting some financing, we have investor financing, and rather than buying the website owner out, we pay them a monthly residual for doing no work and for having built this asset. And if that person has a presence with their database, is that going to be important to us, yes or no?
Yes.
It is. And so it frees up a lot of cash for us because we don't have to pay them outright. Sometimes we have to pay them out. But a website that's generating $2,000 or $3,000 or $5,000 a month can be doubled and tripled because there's so many blind spots in marketing. This is a marketing thing, it's not a business thing. And the majority of people are not good marketers. Raise your hand and just be honest if you think that you're a not so good marketer. Put your hands up. See, look at the room. Go ahead, put them up. It's okay. Okay? Now, would you hire a marketer to do the work for you? Yes or no?
Yes.
I wouldn't unless that marketer was involved in the business, unless they had skin in the game. Because unless they were invested, what's the word?
Invested.
In the business, then that marketer knows stuff that you don't know. And I know many people that get burned by marketing consultants because they think they know something you don't. So my commitment in cloud is as follows. Unfortunately, I got divorced 2 years ago. And as of a year ago, my net worth is less than half of what it was. Because that's the way it works in California. And my kids are about to go to college in 4 years. Now, given those restraints, I have chosen not to take cash from cloud and get all my compensation installed. Is that skin in the game?
Yes.
Okay, 100% commitment. Would you agree? Now, some people don't think I'm very smart, but the reason I think it's smart is because I can make that claim. And so my investment is going to be in buying. And so there's one marketer, at least, with this company who not only has skin in the game, but is not taking payment. Like Steve Jobs, who would get a $1 salary. You know, Bill Gates never did that. And so I'm not getting a buck. And I'm doing it deliberately so that the initial investment that comes in, we have the cash to build momentum. And here's what happens. In the joint venture, it's called JV. What does JV stand for? Joint venture. If you have 1 or 2 or 3 sites, and the database collectively is about 10,000, just shake your head, yes or no. Is that very powerful? Just look at my head. Yes or no? Just go like this. Say no.
No.
But if you have 100 sites, and you have a collective database where the sites can joint venture each other with each other, you don't need a permission or yes, because you own the site. Can you cross-pollinate those lists? Yes or no?
Yes.
Do you know that that doesn't exist on the internet? Do you know that we have reciprocal JV arrangements with people, and I'll promote someone, and then all of a sudden they have creative amnesia and they forget to promote me?
Right.
That happens all the time. But when you own a company, or you own shares in a company, there is no creative amnesia. And there is no convenient memory. And the reason you want to cross-pollinate that list into the master list is you generate more assets and more income. Do you see the opportunity?
Yeah.
It does not exist out there. Yes.
Alex, doesn't that depend on what your privacy policy says?
Doesn't it depend on the privacy policy? The answer is absolutely yes. She's an attorney, by the way. She's my attorney. And the privacy policy will dictate depending on the niche that you're in. So when someone opts in, there'll be a policy in the terms of agreement where they can click on it and they can see what the policy is, they being the database. The point is, if we are the partner, then it goes back to the Lord days of John D. Rockefeller. He did not own a single oil well. He said, own nothing, control everything. So that's the business we're in. So some of the sites will be owning, other sites will be managing, and the goal is that marketers are sloppy, they're lazy, and they hate management. So people say, what's going to be the barrier of entry? Management. It takes a lot of systemization, and Jeff knows it takes a long time to systemize things because they have different types of websites. Next, finding cash-producing websites is not easy to find. Okay, it's not so easy. And once you find it, it's always a diamond in the rough. So when people say, why are you in this game? I love to tell you I'm in it because I'm benevolent and I believe in karma and I'm a good person. And I do believe in all those things, but there's one reason why I'm in this game. For the money. That's why I'm in it. Okay? And I believe that this is an opportunity that I personally haven't seen because I've never seen a situation where we could actually deal in real estate where location was irrelevant. And we're dealing with a database. And guess what? How much is a database worth on a balance sheet? Do you know? Well, legally it's worth nothing. It's called goodwill. It doesn't even show up on the balance sheet. So when the website owner is trying to come up with a value, guess who gets to set the value? We do. Are you with me? It's not a physical asset. So we're going to take advantage until general and accounting principles change. That because the database is worth zero, although we know it's worth a lot more, that is the hook. That is the secret sauce. And the fact that it's most likely underperforming. And there's not a marketer who's sitting in this room, even if I had a whole room of marketers, they all know they're lazy on the back end. They all know. Because they're focused on getting new people. It's kind of like familiarity breeds contempt, in a way, right? Like you just forget about your family. I love people on our database because that's where all the money is. So I love continuity where they buy again and again and many times it's a membership site. You're giving them value so that they can buy again and again. So if that's spilling off cash and you own it, which in this world right now does not exist, I'm willing to take the risk because the risk isn't that much compared to most real estate. So that's why I'm here. That's why I have skin in the game, and that's what I plan to do. I'm kind of like a policeman because we're going to undervalue the websites we buy because we want to make money on the purchase, like Warren Buffett. He makes money when he buys. He buys so low it can't go low. Are you with me? So that's why I'm here. Any questions? 3, 2, yes.
How do you identify the underperforming websites?
How do you identify the underperforming websites? That's a great question. Every website is an underperforming website that I've ever come across. How do you identify the ones that have the highest potential? That's the tough question because as the market changes, there's now there's some micro niches in the marketplace that don't even exist now that they're going to exist in about 5 years. So what we look for is how much value are they generating out of their existing database per year.
How do you get your leads?
Well, they're going to get they have their lead flow, right? So we identify how many leads are they getting each month. What's their conversion rate? So out of 100 people, what are they converting? Usually, they convert low. Usually, and then if it's underperforming, we look at how much each person is worth on the database per year. And depending on the type of business, I like higher end clients. So I'd rather get one $10,000 client than $100 client. Why? Because if every client's a problem child, the $10,000 client has already funded himself, right? So I'd rather have one $10,000 client. That doesn't always happen. So what we look at is what's the value of the database per person. So it's called value per visitor and value per customer. And just by changing a few things and identifying the right business, what we do is we increase the value. And if we can't increase the value on paper, then we don't even go after it. So that's my job, is vetting and then identifying how we're going to increase it. And the goal for us, I mean, it sounds ridiculous, but it's true, is 500% in 3 years. Increasing. Where can you do that with real estate? 500% in 3 years. I've done that no less than 20 times.
Our website owners that interested to give this information out?
Are website owners that interested in giving the information out? Well, you know,
In the spirit of, I'm sure you're gonna have to look at 20, 30, 50 websites.
what ends up happening is, why would a website owner sell? Right now, there's no one buying. there's really no one buying. There are marketplaces where there's income producing websites, but not with databases per se. There's really, like, I can't go to a thought leader and say, I want to buy your website, because that conversation really doesn't happen like in real estate, but it's about to. So the reason they're going to sell is they don't want to do any more work. They want to get paid, and they don't want to do any work. Even real estate people work hard. Internet marketers are crazy. They work like animals, like 20-hour days. Always try to perfect. So if they can finally get passive income, which means I don't work at all, and I make money, and I still can represent the site, that's what we're after. Has it been done before? Not to this level. Will it work? We have no idea. Are we willing to give it a shot? Yes. And we already have 40 properties, and we're going to the next one. So that's why I'm in yes.
What's the price point for the websites that you want to buy? Is there a sweet spot for that?
That's a very good question. So what's the price point? It all depends on the cash flow. So I'm looking at websites, if you just want to get a sense of real numbers. Does anyone know if when the dentist sells a practice, and let's say the practice is worth $1 million, chiropractor too. When a dentist sells $1 million a year practice, do you know how much that practice is worth? $1 million?
Probably.
$500,000.
Yeah.
50% of annual revenue. Okay? You know what I'm going at for a website? For 40. 30 to 40. Now people say, well, that's ridiculous. Really? If the guy stopped working for a month, the website would be out of money. I'm saying you can stop for a year, and you're going to get paid as if. So it's a different psychology, and it doesn't exist right now. But when we start appealing to them, then everyone's going to have their reason for exiting. Divorce, death, and all the D's that are out there.
So it's nowhere near a traditional 3X.
Oh, no.
Because when you use dentist and chiropractor, I think that's a bad example. Because by definition, it's a personal service. I mean, you're going.
So is the website. When you have a guru, like if I left marketing online, it would go away.
Because I'm assuming, so then my question is, I mean, whether it's Target Online or Jeff Fagan, what types of websites, when you're talking about it has no product type of thing, I mean, thousands of websites, hundreds of thousands, are selling a widget, whatever that widget is.
Yeah.
Okay, so I mean.
What's the question?
Well, if they have a database, I mean, that to me is you run out, there's no personal service or very no personal service. That's lamps.com. I don't really care who the owner is. I want to buy a lamp.
That's correct.
As opposed to Mr. Mendelson, marketing strategist, I'm buying you. So when you say if you
So
want
you're
to
talking a guru business versus a
I don't know.
non-guru business.
Well, that's what I'm asking. What
So-
are you guys looking at?
So we're looking at all different types of websites, but one website that I'm focused on most are membership sites. Sites that have membership that are delivering content. And many times a guru is involved there, a face is there, so it is a dentist scenario. Once we find other asset classes that look better, then we'll approach those. But right now we're looking at sites that are producing a lot of income, so there's a lot of upside. And typically there's an owner who's busting their backside to generate income. So the value is in the list, and the list is usually underperforming compared to what it can do. So my job is to increase the performance of it, and I mean, if you double what it performed last year, because that's what I do. People hire me to go in and triple the performance over 3 months, not a year. So I do it all the time. What if the biggest mistake I made? I don't own the website. So what ends up happening is I fix it. I'm kind of like a marketing therapist, right? So I go in, I fix it, and then all of a sudden, I get a thank you note. No, I got paid, but I don't have the upside. And so what I want is ownership. I want to be able to own some control. So I'm in it, just so you don't second guess my values. I'm in it for the money. Okay, that's why I'm doing this, because there's big money involved, yes.
Can you give me some examples of membership websites that people can be looking at?
Membership websites. Well, the most successful websites on earth are membership sites. So LinkedIn is a membership site. Twitter, Facebook, Google is a membership site. Even though you can search on Google, Google services are in the membership,
Right.
if you're in the publishing side of it.
Are you saying I can get LinkedIn for a note?
No, I'm just saying that's a style. That's a style of site. So if it has a username and password, that's a membership site. So if you're asking where can I, 'cause you guys are all focused on the how. Okay, I want you to be relieved of the how. That's our job. The how. How are we going to do this? The way you go after a membership site is you don't go after it one by one. You go after the membership platform. So a member, wish list, Kajabi, and they know what sites are performing. You go to their suppliers, Infusionsoft, One Shopping Cart, iContact, Constant Contact. They know who's performing. You go to their merchant services. They say, introduce me to some of the sites that are producing. So those are your leads, those are your bird dogs, and then you approach the website owner. Now, most of this is not going to be done by email. It's going to be done by snail mail. It's going to be done the traditional way. And it's a sales transaction. But once ownership is taken over, then we can do what we do best, which is increasing the value. I'm just focused on membership sites because I know a lot about it, and I know the platforms that help run it. So that's just an easy place for us to find, the first run.
Do you see taking this to delivery of physical product, or do you want to stay away from it?
We haven't decided yes or no against physical product. We believe the big value is going to be who invests in the company initially, because that's where the multiples, that's what Jeff will talk to you about. I'm focused at the runway level, at the ground level. Like, I want to make sure these websites are performing. Does anyone remember what happened in 1999, the year 2000? The bubble. Did any of those websites make money? No. What were their multiples? Thousands, and they all burst. The portfolio we have right now, the sites are making money. We're way ahead of the year 2000. So the fact that we make $1 or $2,000 a month, we're way ahead. The goal is to find that low-hanging fruit, and there's plenty out there, and then multiply it. 2, 3, 4. My goal is 5 times in 3 years, 5 and 3. Now let's say I come short. Let's say I only do 20% of that. How much in 3 years have we bought? 100%. Where can you find that in real estate? 33% return. You can't. I do it all the time within months. I'm hired, they have a problem, there's a launch happening, I go in there, they pay me $25,000, right? And they get a $500,000 return. What did I get? 25K. Is that a lot of money? Yes. It's a lot. I get the thank you.
Very good.
And I get rehired again. But do you see the difference between getting the 25 up front and then owning a piece of that business on the upside? And it's not my right to have that, because I'm playing that game. Now, you know what my conversation is? $10,000 I want equity. See the difference? Yes.
So how are the websites generating money? Sales, advertising, what?
Okay. So the question is, how does a website generate money? There's numerous ways. Google can pay you for the traffic you get, for advertising that you do. An advertiser can pay you for traffic that you get. Also, there could be products sold. So you could be an affiliate. So when they click a link and they buy from somewhere else, because you're getting a lot of traffic, you could be getting paid that way. That's called affiliate traffic. My favorite way is to have a database yourself, where the buyer is coming into your coffer, into your database, and you're selling a product. It could be a physical product, like a nutraceutical. It could be a digital product, like an ebook. It could be a service, like coaching. So there's numerous ways. My preference is a membership site where people are paying month after month after month, and those people who are flying on frequency are the most likely to pay more because they're in the habit of paying again and again and again.
So if you have a product, but the product, may decline, may not be as popular in the future, become obsolete or something,
Yeah.
then doesn't that affect the value of the website, or
If the product doesn't sell, it has a tremendous effect on the website. And the life of a website is less than property. If you have a website in business for 5 years, there are going to be exit clauses in these websites. 5 years is a long time. For me, that's like 35-year business, a 5-year business, right? So having it stay on board forever is, highly unlikely. However, the turn, the amount of appreciation from that site compared to real estate is huge. There's no negative cash flow, and you're making money month after month. Compared to real estate, yes, sure. Well, yeah, you can put a new face, you can introduce new products. Our job will be always to be ahead of that curve. Okay, and our job is to look at the other sectors that we're involved in. So we have one very huge advantage. We're not inside the jar. You can't read the label from inside the jar. We're outside, we have this thing that other people don't have when they own a site. We have objectivity. So we're looking at cash flow, we're buying cash flow, and the goal is even if it lost 3/4 of its value, we still made money because we bought so low. That's the game that we're playing. And it's just a matter of you believe in it or not. I just know personally, I don't think I lose money, I think I make very good money, but I could be making so much more if I own the sites that I was helping. So here I have an opportunity to do what I do best and to own a piece of that action. Final question.
Liability.
How so? We have the liability queen right here. What's the question?
Since it's such a new industry, I mean, there's probably some liability issues we don't even know about yet.
Well, it's like me walking out in the street. If I, jaywalk, I don't know if I'm gonna get hit by a car. I mean, it is at that level. The liability typically is with customers and guarantees, and there are FTC guarantees that are mandated. 30-day money-back guarantees that are mandated at a conference. 5-day money-back guarantee mandated depending on the country you're in. So typically, liability, if you're selling a physical product, and especially if it's ingestible, liability is much greater. And depending if you own the product or not, liability is greater. But typically, the liability on a digital product or a membership site to have access to membership is much, much lower than something that someone's going to ingest or put on their skin.
But I can personally be sued.
Anyone can sue, yes.
Do the purchase of whatever website.
Yeah, people could, they can sue you for just about anything. We can talk to Maria for that.
What's
She makes a
what's
living.
Maria's rate?
The key is gonna be good terms of service. The key is gonna be that your website's got terms of use that protect you. If your customer's unhappy, that your terms of use need to really govern that. You have good terms of service. Anyone can sue you for anything.
Sure.
But if you don't want them to win, you wanna have good terms of use. And not do anything stupid.
All right, let's give it up for Alex.
Thank you.
In my opinion, marketing in business is pretty much what it's really all about. It doesn't matter how good your product or service is, if you're not effective at communicating to a large number of people your message in a very effective way, you have very little opportunity to be successful. You can see the kind of marketing skills that Alex has and the people that he brings to us. So I really feel blessed to have people like Alex on board. And the last person, real briefly, and we're running late, but I did want to bring him up, is our latest and our most current strategic partner. He's a personal friend of mine. He's doing some totally amazing things, and Cloud is really proud to have the Mojo guys on board with us. Let's give it up for Ira Rosen. Sure, why not?
All right. Everybody say the Wild Wild West.
Wow.
That's what this is. And so everybody that's in this room is a visionary. True. When I was 30 years old, I heard about a thing called leasing. Auto leasing. What the hell is that? And I had a new car dealership at age 30, and I was completely undercapitalized, but I hawked everything. I borrowed from anybody that would talk to me, and I was relentless. And then I had some dealerships, but then I got into auto leasing, and that's where I made my money. I didn't know what a lease was, but I thought this is something I want to do. Every now and then, something unique and different comes along. And I know, I was fascinated when I talked to Jeff a few years ago. I was at his house, and I just thought, this is hot. And you gotta be able to, ask 100 people what they're gonna do, and if you want the right answer, do exactly the opposite, and usually you're right on track, am I right? And so everybody that's in this room is special because you have a vision and you can see the potential. At Mojo, we've done some very creative things. We've worked with a lot of you in this room. Some of the things that we do really, really well is traffic conversion, video. You realize if you have a video on a website, it'll stay there for 6 minutes. If you don't, they'll leave in under 60 seconds. So those are the kinds of things. You gotta get traffic, but then once you get traffic, you gotta have conversion. And so we created a couple softwares where you can get, literally, you can go into LinkedIn and extract thousands and thousands of highly targeted emails every month, thousands. And so that's our latest software. So we're doing some very cool ninja things. So you think maybe that would be of value for a site? Just maybe? Absolutely. So Corey, I'll let you talk a little bit about some of our new little things here.
So our role at Cloud Income Properties is outreach. So all you phenomenal people are here to learn about Cloud Income Properties. You're Jeff's friend. You know Jeff. You know people that brought you here, and we're going to be using LinkedIn to go out and reach out to people that want to hear about this and want to buy cash flow websites, want to get involved and spread the word. So we've developed some phenomenal systems of outreach and softwares that help bring people, message out to really targeted people. What I love about LinkedIn, who here has a LinkedIn profile? Okay, great. Yeah, so we use LinkedIn to target basically anybody, dentists, doctors, entrepreneurs, business owners, people that are seeking opportunity. So we've really fine-tuned these systems, and so that's what we're going to be working with Jeff and his entire team is finding the right people to be involved in the team, be involved in Cloud Income, come on board and hear about it and invest in properties and do some other things. So that's really what we're focused on and why Jeff brought us on board. So we're extremely happy to be here. Thanks, Jeff. So thanks for having us as part of the team.
Absolutely, I'm glad.
And I just want to say one thing. You know, I've known of Alex for a long time, and when Jeff told me that Alex was involved, I thought, okay, Corey, we're in. And so that was kind of like the tipping point for us because I thought, okay, this guy, and he works very closely also with Gina Gotti Graves and Jack Humphrey. Those names will come up many times, but we know those people very well. Gina Gotti Graves, if you Google the JV Queen, Joint Venture Queen, her name will pop up and she's all over the internet. Anyway, she was the first, she's an attorney, she was the first Joint Venture Queen is what she called herself. Going back, how many years ago was that, Alex?
At least a decade.
Yeah, probably more than that, but an amazing woman. Anyways, we met her at a conference years ago. We became good friends. Corey and I are on the phone with her twice a week for an hour. We've been doing that for 3 years because she's a genius. And so those are the people that we want to attract and work with. And so we know Alex through Gina, and so that's really the whole. So there's a lot of synergy here. So we're like really excited, and we love Jeff. I mean, if Jeff wanted to open up a Kool-Aid stand, I would want to be the best. It's just if Jeff's doing it, I want to be part of it. So right? I mean, this guy is amazing. So, but anyways, I really know. I know that this is an amazing opportunity. We're doing the same thing that Alex is. We are. We're not taking any cash out of this at all. We believe in it so much.